I just been. This is Dragon Bros thing on what John Cena said about Chris Benoit and what WWE. He said in just a 34-second segment that Chris Benoit should take responsibility for his actions. Well, let's just say this. It's very easy for someone who is supposed to be contracted with one company but yet does other things that's way outside that company, promotes extramarital sex, promotes the usage of drugs within the other media that he takes part. Just look at the Tina Fey and Amy Poehler movie, The Sisters. He pulled it was a character, but that character promotes all forms of illegal narcotics. Now, I dare Mr. Cena to combat that by saying, no, I don't take drugs. Mr. Cena, I address that to you. Why don't you come up and say, in the movie Sisters, I portrayed a drug dealer. Now, to my fans, I do not support the selling or taking of illicit or illegal drugs. But will you do that? The answer would be no. Another thing that you did was a movie called Trainwreck, where you had extramarital relations with a woman. So, and Amy Schumer of all people. Now, you have the balls. No. You have the time. You only gone off with what some pathetic 2-day investigation from the Georgia the so-called intelligent Georgian police department or police force. I call the police the police and law enforcement in the state of Georgia in the USA the biggest joke in all of law enforcement. When it comes to the topic of Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit worked his ass off. He unfortunately got divorced. He married into the business. Married a fellow wrestler, or in this case, a female wrestler, in Nancy. They had a son called Daniel. But due to a very lacking investigation into the death of the Benoit family, because the Georgian Police Department, the Atlantan Police Department found medication, and over so much medication that he is supposed to be allegedly taken? Has Mr. Benoit's body been... Firstly, I'm asking you this, John. Since you have the balls to criticize the man... No. Since you're gutless to criticize the man in my country, instead of saying it to his father and mother in Canada, you come down to Australia. A wrestling fan asked you, why doesn't the WWE promote Chris Benoit? And you have the ball, and you follow the gutless regime. He has to take responsibility for his own actions. You know how gutless that sounds? You know how weak that sounds? You know how pathetic that sounds? Coming from a guy that's supposed to be very intelligent and used his brains to get what he wanted. No, you didn't use your brains to get what you wanted. You used your body. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to use their body if they're built like a G.I. Joe figure with a Boy Scout on their for a head. All you have to do is just go, look, I'm John Cena. Flex muscle, flex muscle. I'm dating John Laurinaitis. I'm the fiance of John Laurinaitis' stepdaughter. Yes, I just went after your fiance, Nikki. Didn't my fiance's sister, didn't she fuck up with who she married? You know what? Bryan Danielson has a lot more wrestling talent than you'll ever have. He has a lot more talent in a little snippet of fingernail than you would have in your entire body. So what if you matched Ric Flair's World Heavyweight title collection? That's because you're a bigger ass kisser than Ric Flair ever was. You're a bigger ass kisser than Hulk Hogan. You're a bigger ass kisser than The Rock. The reason why... And besides, you look like a little punk. Now, let's put this into perspective. If the WWE, let's just say they want to promote goodness and well-being, and since they're now a PG-rated company, wants to promote family values, well then, I would say, you know what, John? You better start cleaning up your image. Why don't they? Because little children with no brains about professional wrestling look up to you. Since you look like one of them, but much, much bigger. But yeah, you have the gutless coward that comes down to Australia and disrespects the career of Chris Benoit. A guy who's smaller than you. And guessing the only reason why you had so many opportunities was because Eddie Guerrero, not only because of Chris Benoit passing, but a fantastic athlete that has more talent in one of his wrestling boots than you'll have in your entire career, and that is Eddie Guerrero. If it wasn't for those two people passing away, you would have nothing. You can sit down in your big ass mansion, dictating rules and regulations on, oh, we eat this time, we eat that time. You go out, you tell me what you do. Like a brain dead Neanderthal. Actually, let me rephrase that, and let me just say this to all anthropologists out there: I apologize to the intelligence of the Neanderthal because John Cena is nowhere near it. It makes me sick to think you have had such an immense run as the so-called face that runs the place, to do these things that are not exactly the WWE's, the so-called WWE, wink wink, nudge nudge, PG rated baloney. And when and you said it yourself, I'm not going to hand the torch over to these guys. They have to take the torch away from me. You know how selfish that sounds? Honestly, Hulk Hogan raised the hand of The Rock, and he just did that. I mean to say, you know what? My time is done. Here's the new man to take it forward. The Rock raised your hand. If I was The Rock, I would have wanted to lose to Randy Orton. At least he knows the respect of the business. At least he knows the business inside and out because of him being a multiple generational wrestler. Randy Orton deserves a hand raised from The Rock, not you. And what did you do? You did this. I beat The Rock. You beat nothing. So what? You had The Rock pin 1, 2, and 3. That means nothing to a die-hard wrestling fan like me. You know what? Chris Benoit made you his bitch more times than any. You were lucky. You were very lucky that he passed away. I believe Chris Benoit deserves more respect from you. He deserves a far more respect from the WWE. And dare I say, the Georgian law enforcement community. They can all kiss my ass for what they did with Chris Benoit. But yet, you know, you're too dumb. You're too stupid to believe that a guy like Chris Benoit, who was not on the record for, who's gone on the record saying, oh, I've now stopped taking this many drugs. I don't do these sort of drugs. I've seen his last few matches. He was in a lot more pain then than any time in his career. For the simple reason is, he didn't want to get busted and be thrown on some stupid willingness policy bullshit that you should have been on more times than not, if not fired for excess usage. John Cena. I thought I would have a bit more respect for you because you went on your knees and you pulled that itty bitty wedding ring out of your pocket and proposed to Nikki. You started getting some respect from me then. But now that's all gone. Because you said in front of a whole group of Australian wrestling fans that Chris Benoit should take responsibility for his own actions. If it was actually proven that he killed his wife. If it was actually proven that he killed his son. But no. After a 2-day investigation, the Atlanta Police Department acted like nothing more than pathetic, piss-weak politicians and dumb school children. Actually, no, wait. That's an insult to dumb school children. Now, actually, that isn't a true. I apologize to children who can't learn around the world. I apologize. You see, I've done more apologizing to different people than to you. For the simple reason is, you don't deserve any apologies. You don't deserve any respect. Your belts will not make my collection. Because I find your belts to be nothing but pathetic pieces of garbage. And you know what? That is an insult to pieces of garbage anywhere. And I can't exactly apologize to pieces of garbage because they're inanimate objects. Just like your brain dead belts. Wiki wiki woo, I can spin a belt. Hell, one of my friends, she works with the the disabled people. Some of the mentally handicapped, in other words, they don't have the faculties with them. They would have designed a better belt than your US and your world title and your WWE title. You know what, John? That's it. You've done your dash. You've disrespected a legend. A real legend that has had more hard-earned success in his career than you'll ever have. And on just on that, I hope you never make it to the Hall of Fame. Because your career doesn't deserve your star on the Hall of Fame, nor do you deserve a ring on your finger or a plaque on your wall. And to Nikki, God bless your soul. Honestly, God bless your soul, girl. For your future husband is nothing more than a guy that disrespects the dead and a guy who is untalented and a cheater. You deserve more than that, Nikki. To John, as Stone Cold Steve Austin once did it to Vince McMahon. Fuck you. And what the Bullet Club is doing to the Revival, I'm going to do it to you. Fuck John Cena.